There's this farmer in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, and it's a very old Amish village in central Pennsylvania, pretty remote, kind of far from everything else. And there's a farmer named Amos Miller, and he's been farming for 25 years. Um, no electricity, no fertilizer, no gasoline. Um, he has really, really impressive crop yields using only the oldest of methods. Totally organic. He has milk. He has beef. He has different types of sheep. He has chicken, all types of vegetables, and he has a private buyers club of about 4,000 people all across the country that pay him top dollar for his food. And the government doesn't like this idea of a private buyers club. Um, they have raided his farm with armed federal agents, and they have said he needs to stop selling his meat until he gets regulated by the federal agencies whose job it is to, regulate food. And he says, the way you guys regulate it, it kind of hurts the nutrition of the food. You wash it in these things. You go to these. You give them these vaccines. The cows get all types of medicine. I don't do any of that. So I think if going through your regulatory process will actually hurt the quality of my food. And that's what I'm being paid top dollar for, is this high quality food. So they are fining him hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they've actually sent armed federal agents there to take inventory of his meat and of his dairy. And they visit him to make sure that he's not selling anything and that he's not ramping up his production in any way. So that's where he is now. He's figuring out how to fight the federal government, what he's going to do. And, he's been put in this really tight spot along with the people who, look to him for this food. They're not getting their meat and dairy right now because of the government. So that's what's happening right now.
This is crazy because it sounds like he's farming exactly how the way the government would like the rest of us farmers to farm. No fertilizer, no gasoline, no diesel, no electricity, no fossil fuels, no problems. He's doing exactly what the World Economic Forum would like him to do as a farmer. Somehow he's making go of it. God bless him. But they're still cracking down on him. And what you've described, I think, would be a cooperative where he has this private buyers club. He's not selling anything into the food supply sneakily, right? Like I think that's where you would think that regulators would get upset, where this certain kind of food is ending up in the food supply along with the other inspected food, and so they should step in then. But people are actually seeking him out specifically because
that's a great point.
Of the way he purchases it or the way he produces it. So nobody is involved in this unwittingly or unwillingly. So where's the room for the government here?
That's a great point. These people who are part of his, private buyers club, they sign a waiver, they pay money to be part of this club specifically because his food is prepared in the way it's prepared. It's not like they are paying for a certain product and they are unknowingly getting food that's not inspected by the federal government. This is exactly what they want. And it's not, snuck into the food supply. Like you said, you can't go to the store. It's not getting shipped to places that you aren't aware that this is the food that it is. It's a private buyers club. So that's what he's arguing to the government. He's saying, this food is not, you don't have to worry about it. It's not ending up in any supply chain uninspected. This is exactly what people are seeking me out for. So that's sort of the argument he's using. And I think it's pretty valid.
Yeah, I think everybody involved in this is consenting to the transaction. And so you say they sent armed guards or armed officials.
Yeah, U.S. Marshals.
To inspect his farms. This is atrocious to me. I know a thing or two about our Anabaptist friends. Where I am, we do have a large quantity of Mennonites where I am, but also Hutterites too. So that's another Anabaptist sect. And by and large, they're mostly all pacifist. And so to turn up at a pacifist farm with armed sheriffs, marshals, I mean, surely he would have just allowed them on his property because he's a
Mhm.
pacifist. So what's with the show of force?
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was. It was a show of force. It just speaks to how upset the government gets when you try to do things independently. Whether you're a pacifist or not, they don't care. They will show you they have guns and you don't have guns, and that seems like all it was. It was, why do you need guns to take a inventory of meat and dairy? This is not something you need firearms for. But it didn't stop them from bringing their guns. And again, they pulled up, in these giant SUVs, guns, bulletproof vests. Like, these are people who have horses and don't have any guns. So it really is just to show them what they're capable of, rather than something that is actually required.
Yeah, it speaks to the government participating in community-wide intimidation where, this might be this one farmer's farm, but don't the rest of you get any
Mm-hmm.
cute ideas about replicating what's happening here on this farm. That's what I think is going on. These small, cloistered, close communities, word travels fast. If the police raid a farm in an Amish community, it sure spreads like wildfire through the Amish
Of
community.
course.
I think it serves to tell everybody else, you know what, you better toe the line too, because you don't want to end up like this guy.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then, there are other farms. There's tons of other organic, farms, independent farms in the U.S. that aren't beholden to, federal subsidies or, big corporations, chemicals. Like, there are tons of other farms, and they hear this story and they think, wow, they brought armed guards to these farms, and these people, let it be known, these people do have guns and do have SUVs. So it's less for the Amish people and more for anyone else who in the country who hears this story, sort of as a warning. That's at least the way I see it, and the way a lot of people see it.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.